All right, so let's talk about the first two episodes of Alien Earth, right? I literally saw it a few hours before we met up here online. I don't know if you saw it this morning or the night before,
Yeah, I
but
watched,
whatever. Oh, you did? Well, sorry, you saw it
yeah,
this morning?
I watched it last night.
Or last night? Okay, when it dropped. Okay, well,
Yeah,
lucky you. Right, right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, so, well, Ricardo, if you don't mind, I want you to do the substances, right? But I will
Sure.
do a quick preamble, right? So, yes, this is the long-awaited TV series, right? Who'd have thought, right, that we'd actually get an Alien TV series, right? And I like where Fox is at right now, right? Where it's like, here's what, right? We have this IP that there for years and years and years, but look at what going on with Predator, right? We have this anthology movie, Killer of Killers, which is magnificent in my opinion, one of the best movies of the year. We have a new movie that's coming out that's supposed to, be a tie into Alien as well, which is really cool. So yeah, let's breathe new life into the Alien franchise yet again, right? And I mean, we talked about the Alien franchise before, right? We had a lengthy discussion of the franchise when the last Ridley Scott Alien film came out, right? Which I really wanted to like, but it was meh for me, right? And I think you did like it at all, but I just found it to be meh, right? But yeah, that last one, the last one that came out from the director of Don't Breed, I didn't get a chance to check it out, right? But I was surprised that you had it in your I think you had it as an honorable mention. And I was like, okay. I still have that
Alien, Romulus.
Romulus, yeah. I still
Yeah, yeah,
haven't
okay.
seen it, so please don't
Right,
spoil the ending. I kind of piece together what the ending is, but don't tell me what it is. I
right,
want to see it for myself, right? But yeah, even Romulus breathe new life into the Alien franchise, right? And that's
right.
always been the thing with this franchise. Is always trying to breathe new life in it, trying to make it relevant, trying to make it fresh, right? So I could say, even though I haven't seen Romulus, I could say Romulus was decent enough effort into breathing new life into the franchise, right? But I think Alien Earth now, this is the one that could really, really do it justice. I think this is the one that could really, really breathe new life into it, right? And given the conceit and where it's set, because this is actually set, believe it or not, 2 years before the first movie, right? And I'll talk about cues that they do in these two episodes that I really loved. But yeah, I really think that they are on the right track with this, right? But that's the mere fact that this is a TV series, right? That is based on the Alien universe. It's kind of brilliant because you could just take the universe of Alien and just explore certain aspects of it and expand it even more, right? Which I am happy to report this season so far has been doing very, very, very well in my opinion, right? Bear Ricardo, take it away. First two episodes of Alien Earth, what were they about?
Yeah, so we have basically they set up a new conceit about quote unquote immortality. So they basically getting into the different variations of synthetism and synthetics in the world of aliens. So far we only think that it had two types of thing: organics, normal human beings, right, and then synthetics, just straight robots. But you learn to have other types of synthetic beings. You have cyborgs, uh, you have straight synthetics, like as we are accustomed to, and then we have like upgraded synthetics. I forget what they call them exactly. But
Oh,
it's basically uploaded
they're
mind
they're called hybrids. Hybrids.
hybrid, right?
Yeah.
Right, right. So it's uploaded minds into a synthetic body, and well, they give there's a conceit to that as to why that has to be the case. And yeah, so we follow a girl who I think well she basically have cancer, she dying, and then she's the first case of this. I forget the guy boy's name, boy something. Um, this guy's a boy genius. He's the world's
All right.
youngest trillionaire.
So
I forget his name.
just to help you out there for a bit, right? So his name, let me just put it up here, is Boy Cavalier, right? So yeah,
Boy Cavalier.
yeah,
So he
and they
now,
literally
right?
had the goal to say he's a trillionaire. They say that a few
Yeah, yeah,
times
yeah.
in the premiere. Yeah, dude's a trillionaire.
He's the world's youngest trillionaire
Well,
actually.
right,
So he's a
world's
world
youngest trillionaire. Sorry, yeah.
right. So yeah, so he basically did they upload a child's mind into the body, and well, you learn that it has to be a child's mind, because apparently adult minds don't really take with the process or whatever it is. So what they did is they get a bunch of children who will terminally ill, and they upload their minds into the super body. So effectively they skip. But the problem is that they give them adult bodies or relatively young adult bodies. So they effectively skip puberty. So they're children in adults' bodies. So that psychology of never having to deal with puberty is a whole thing by itself. And then we follow another group of people on a ship, um, like very similar to the Nostromo. But they doing a bunch of experiments involving a lot of aliens, one including a xenomorph, and them having to deal with this. But one of the guys who's well, presumably a cyborg, he had to deal with some mission and get the ship to Earth, but we don't know if it's by intention or not. And they in resolve that yet in the first 2 episodes. And yeah, for some reason, the two black people looking exactly like Yaphet Koto, and they have to
I
remind you that
know, right? Which
yeah,
is
yeah,
purposeful, eh? They did that on
right, yeah, very
purpose. They
deliberate,
did that shit on
yeah, very
purpose, and I
deliberate.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very deliberate, but they set it up, and the first 2 episodes I like it enough, but it a lot of it feels like a little too fan servicey for my liking, a little too much.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I get
Mm-hmm.
I get they still do decent world building and the simple normal narrative story stuff, but it's like okay, you keep reminding me. Yes, I get it. You're an Alien fan. We get it. Like it's that now, especially that first episode. But it's like whatever they're setting you up for the situation. I don't really have a too much of a problem with it as it is, and they're setting up some interesting conceits, especially with the cyborg stuff. Like I don't really care for what's his boy Cavalis, whoever his name is. I don't really care for him. He kind of fall flat for me because they keep framing him as this big menacing bad guy, and he look how menacing and
No, the
leering he is.
dude is a dick shirt. Like in the second episode in
Right,
particular, there's a
right,
convo. He's like, "No, you sort of an asshole, Dread." Like if
right.
that's the point, then okay, I get. Yeah.
What I get the feeling is that he was just like he just missed the whole process to get become immortal or whatever it is. Well, the thing, but you know. So that is that. But yeah, in the first episode, they just set up that the ship crashes, the all the creatures escape, and they do a bunch of things involving that. And then the second episode is resolving a lot of that, having to deal with the ship crash in the middle of I forget the name of the cities, some Asian city, and they have to deal with the fallout of that. But then the girl, her brother is a medic, and they meet each other, and they have to sort of that. I enjoying it so far. Just a good setup. They're making it work. It's very gory. That's why a lot of that works. So if you love that, you will love that. I mean, it's I feel it's kind of go out of its way to show how gory and scary something is. Like, oh, look how scary this thing is. Like it have this one like eye tentacle monster thing. That's like, okay, this kind of cool. It look cool. But
Yeah, it did.
it doesn't. It's just right on the edge of shock value. Not too shock value. They overdo it. But there were a couple of scenes like they have a scene with two guards involved with some creature that has sucked blood from the. Like, okay, but it feel like filler. Like okay, I need to watch this. All right, move on now. But I still enjoying it. Good characterization. They set up some good things. I really liking some of the character actors in this. Well, it have only one person whose face I recognize off the top of my head, and I still Timothy Oliphant as I forget the robot name, but he's a robot basically. He's a robot. Uh, he's good in this because he's all the existential, very similar to David kind of character.
Yes.
Um, type person, right? So it's like alright, live I can live with some of this as it is, and it's just good characterization. They're making it work. The girl is special because apparently she could like manipulate other machinery with her robot body. So we don't know what they give the robot body all its abilities to do, which don't make any sense to me. It's like, did she upgrade herself, or did they put all these abilities in the body itself? I can't follow. But she could manipulate all kind of machinery and hack things and do so on. So it's like, oh, they make the robots to do that. So like clearly that is part of the guy's like plan, right? He's like I forget the young genius kind of character, but he's like basically that, but also Nathan from Ex Machina. So I know what's going on with that.
Oh,
But yeah,
good reference. Mm-hmm.
right. But so I yeah, but so far it have good atmosphere. It's well, production value is excellent. It just looks great. Special effects look great. Set design look great. The stuff involving the xenomorph, we get a lot of xenomorph. I forget who somebody on Twitter or Blue Sky, one of them, made the joke that it's not Surf Dracula. If you get that reference, right? It leans into the conceit almost immediately. It doesn't waste time, even though it feels a bit slow at parts. It's very purposeful and a lot of it works. I can't say I'm super loving it just yet, but I sure like episode 3 or 4 will be like, oh shit, that was real hard, and it go blow my way. But so far, solid first 2 episodes in my opinion. Yeah, I digging it. I enjoying it. Guy, even though it's still a little too fanboy. Okay, we get fanboy and aliens, alright, fine. But whatever is, happy with this as it is, and it's solid business. So I can't be mad at it. It's good writing. So it's good.
Right. So if I could just give like just a minor gripe, yes, I did pick up on the fan service, especially with the stuff involving the ship itself, right, which it introduced to the Maganaut, that's the name of it, right, and just how it literally feels like almost like a shot for shot remake of the moments in the Nostromo, right? And with the characters there and whatnot, right? Um, even just how things play out, right? But I do like how the show itself sort of subverts that, right? So they would kind of show these moments rather quickly. Slight spoiler. They kind of hint at the outcome of things, even though you kind of know what the outcome will be anyway. Because when you hear, oh, we're just bringing this cargo back to Weyland Yutani, right? And you realize, oh, it's a bunch of xenomorph samples. Like, well, of course, it's gonna play out like that, right? What the show does so well is that you're
And
thinking
it,
that it's gonna be another, oh, these oh gosh, yeah, these blue collar people, right? These blue collar people on a job, and a xenomorph escape or is born in the same exact way and attack all of them, and that's the premise to the whole show. I am glad that it was not like that. So that was a nice little
it
subversion
feels,
there.
yeah, they didn't spend too much time on that, and it felt like one of those things. Like a lot of ideas in Aliens that just getting done. Like I know, Yaphet Kotto wanted to do this, that, and the other on the original Alien film, and he didn't do it. And but it was a cool idea. So like they do it here because like he is revealed to be like not a robot but a cyborg presumably. Um, so it's like a lot of that. It feels like a lot of old ideas being done, like finally just being done, and they're finally doing it. Much like with Prey. And the Predator franchise or whatnot. It's like, okay, you guys should have done this like 30 years ago, and now you're doing it. Alright, cool. You're giving the fans what they want, even though it's like 30 years. Not too late because I mean, whatever. You're still telling a good story, forever. So it's fine. So that's how I feel about it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. But I do really like the stuff with Wendy. That stuff actually caught me completely by surprise, right?
Right. Yeah,
And
there's a solid character work here.
yeah, and what I was picking up from it, I know this is not one of your favorite films at all. I know, as at just in general and in part of the whole Alien franchise, but I was picking up on some Prometheus vibes in this, right? Because one thing that I like about the movie, even though the movie is far, far, far from perfect, is the idea of existentialism that was addressed in it, right? Like I said, this was really Scott imprinting his Blade Runner examinations of what makes us human, right? He incorporate that
Right.
into Prometheus, right?
Yeah.
In particular with the character, well, David, right, who Michael
Right.
Fassbender plays, right?
Right.
Yeah,
And
it's just
that's
that
why
he,
Timothy Oliphant feels like an evolution of David. You just feel like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a David. Yeah.
Especially sort of
Yeah.
cynical way how he
Right.
views humanity, right? 'Cause
Right.
there's
Exactly.
he has a little piece of dialogue he has with Wendy talk about,
Right.
yeah, eventually humans gonna kill itself because we're
Right.
animals, and eventually a bigger animal will come and kill us,
Right.
right? So it's like that, right? So that actually works, right? And that moment also echoes a conversation. That's what I mentioned earlier with that same boy genius guy, right? And one of the scientists who works with him, right? Yeah, just basically the idea of, hey, we trying to make technology that will be smarter than humans, but then we'll end up being extinct as a result, because all the technology has to do is just make more advanced technology, and it just keeps going on to the point that humanity just sort of ceases to exist now. So it's that kind of stuff now, right? It's more the idea of what makes us human, right? Because this is what really was exploring since Blade Runner, right? And again, I like that he incorporated that into Prometheus. You see, he was trying to do something different. It's just that he had to square that with the alien shit, right? And at that time, the alien stuff that we got in that movie was just so generic. So when you see it, it's like, yeah, why would a character do that though? Like, oh gosh, man, like, yeah, people, like, I understand it's a prequel, right? But though, like, people still going into dark corridors, so that was the reason why
Oh,
I didn't like
this still,
Alien Covenant that much, because it's just
but
people still doing dumb shit.
this series have a couple moments like that too. It's like, bro, why you putting your face next to this thing so close? Put on a mask
I
or something like that. God, man.
know, yeah, I
Still doing this
know,
bullshit,
I
right?
know.
Oh God.
But
Yeah, man,
but that moment with with the character going up in front of something, yes, minus slight spoiler. At least the show itself was like, not yet. Not yet. We're not gonna do that to that person just yet. I know what you expect, but not just yet, right? So yes, it
And
always
I
plays
think
with,
it was the
it always
robot.
subverts things.
I think it was the robot kid, so it was fine. But
Yeah.
still,
And
like,
I know, yeah,
go ahead.
it's still the
Yeah.
goofy human. Oh, look at this weird ass looking alien thing. Let me go a little closer. Let me touch it. Let me touch it. It's like, no, motherfucker, you don't. touch this. No, no, you know what I mean? But yes, they have those moments, but I like how they subvert them, right? But yes, I will admit there are some fan servicey moments, especially in that series premiere, right? But I like that, the show is kind of self-aware of that and sort of says, no, we're not gonna do that, we're gonna actually do something a bit different, right? The world building in this show is excellent in my opinion, right? It really does feel like I say, just ideas that were just there for years. I can remember this franchise started in 1979, and here we are right now, 2025, and the ideas were like, you could explore this in Alien 3, you could explore this in Alien Resurrection, but no, they always have to do the space stuff, with the exception of 3, which was about the whole prison planet thing, and even that Noel had a lot of great ideas, and most of them just fell apart and was swapped for other things and all that kind of stuff, right? But anyway, but yeah, just the world building in this is great. The mere fact that we have what is, well, it's apparently Thailand, right? And actually, I was surprised that there were a lot of Thai people who worked in behind the scenes, right, in post production. Because I was actually watching credits for this thing. I was like, wait, they're like, real Thai people work on this way? Okay, okay. But they actually filmed there, right? But yeah, the name of the city is New Siam, so it's basically an ultra modern like version of Bangkok. At least I assume
Right.
that's what the city is supposed to be. But just choosing that place is kind of interesting, right? And just how they explore. But for me, the biggest takeaway for this show right now is what I assume is this race for immortality. It's Wayland Yutani versus Prodigy, right? Prodigy is the kids company, right? So which company is ultimately gonna win, right? But what I am looking forward to is, okay, why is it now, like in all the films, right? It's just synths, it's all androids, not cyborgs, not this, not that, not even hybrids, which now have me thinking, okay, I don't know how things is gonna play out for Wendy and her Lost Boys. More on them in a bit, right? I don't know how things are gonna play out for them in the long run, right? But I feel like at the end of the day, it will be all synths. And I love that this show is gonna explore how that came to be, right? But it never loses sight of the fact that it's still about aliens, still about xenomorphs, right? But I love, just right out the gate, that's not just about xenomorphs. Because if it was just about xenomorphs and characters being killed by xenomorphs, then you just basically, there wouldn't be any need for you to do a series, right? You just might as well just make another alien movie and try to connect it to one of the older movies, and then you'd have like, a alien Romulus on our hands, right? But just the mere fact that we exploring another aspect of the show that, yes, it was explored before, but not as much, because they always have to push it aside for the xenomorph shit. I love that about the show, right? I do like the visual and even like the musical cues to the old films, right? So yes, Jeff Russo of all people, you would know him. Well, he's the guy who did the music for Daredevil. He did the score for it. He did the theme song. Yeah, he does really really great Jerry Goldsmith tribute, right? So you're hearing a lot of horns, and there's some of the stings, some of the stingers that you sorry, some of the musical stings that you hear from the original score. He does his own version of that though. It's like, all right, Jeff, do your thing, yeah. You know what I mean? I even like and this is like I picked up on it. I love the first movie, yeah? The use of cross dissolves, because that was something that was very prominent in the first two Alien movies, right? The use of cross dissolve, but how they use it here in the show is like, all right, I liking this. This is clever. Like, you're taking what exists and what we know from before, but you're giving a fresh new spin in it. You're putting your own tweak in it, right? So I like that it have a sort of a slightly surrealistic take on it, right? The way how cross dissolves are used, especially when it comes to showing flashbacks. It's like, all right, yes, this working, right? The acting is great.
They do very slow crosses also as well, because
Yeah,
like,
yeah, which again is also
yeah,
from the old films. They do
yeah,
a
a lot of
lot of
memory, a lot of it got a lot of memory stuff. Like it had this moment with the with Ice Age. Right? I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
I
yeah,
laugh at that because it's
yeah,
Fox, and Ice Age is from Fox.
right,
It's like, all right, well,
right.
but given the time period, it's like, yes, this makes sense, and it actually makes for a really endearing moment, right? Yes, you're right. It looks like by TV standards, this shit looks great in my opinion. The VFX, the production design, just everything looks stellar in my opinion, right? The acting I thought was great across the board, right? I'm not too familiar with the lead actress. That would be yes, Cindy Chandler, right? I thought that she was just great as Wendy. I love her eyes though. She just really has these really broad eyes, and it just adds to yeah, just the inquisitiveness of a character. Okay, you have to remember
Right.
that this is pretty much a teenager in the body of an adult, right? And how she's
Yeah,
seeing
she's
the
like,
world and
she's
thing.
pre-pubescent. She's 12.
Right. All right. Yes. 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 She is still that age, right? You know, she's still 12 and whatnot, right? It's just because she becomes the leader of these other hybrids, right? Who are called the Lost Boys because it's set up that there's this Peter Pan narrative running going on. So I feel like even the trillionaire have a part to play in all of this too. Like he is a Peter Pan of sorts, you know, to the Wendy, right? So I want to see how they explore that later on, right? I should mention too there's a fantastic, just magnificent scene involving the transition of consciousness, human consciousness, to synthetic body. And you've seen that with all the other Lost Boys.
Yeah,
I just watch it
yeah,
like, all right, show. All right, show. I love that. I love that. I love that. FX, all the cooking. FX is coming with great shit, you know. FX is
yeah.
coming with great shit. Like we talked about the bear just the other day, and now
Right.
yes, we talk about this, man. Yeah, when FX is cooked, haha, right? FX is really cooked, but yeah, that scene was great, right? The Xenomorph stuff was genuinely tense, but like there was genuine moments where like I didn't jump, but I was startled, boy, right? Like they
Yeah,
really go for the juggler with this, right? And yes, when it gets violent, it gets really violent. It's gory and whatnot, right? And I love how it just plays on the stuff that you know about the Xenomorph, right? There's one moment, and I gotta see which episode it is, right? Involving a statue, an
right.
abstract statue. The first time I saw the statue, I tell myself, don't tell me that Xenomorph behind it, you know. And then they cut back to it, and you know, it's like the fucker right there, though. And a guy is standing right in front of it, and I am like mounting in it, like mentally say to the guy, dog, turn around, us, turn around, or run, or just run. I was telling him run, right? And yes, he does the thing, he does the trope, right? But to his defense, I would have been stunned too. I would have been stunned too if I was him, eh? But you had a gun. That's all I'll say with us pointing, right? There's some other creatures as well too, right? You mentioned one with a bug, right? Yeah, that bug was genuinely creepy, right? But yes, I can understand you finding it to be sort of shock value, like right, where you just have
Yeah, so
to
like they have,
delve
yeah,
into
what scene
how
was
gross and
yeah,
disgusting they are,
yeah,
right? When
like there
they
was one
attacking
scene,
humans, you know? Yeah.
yeah, there's one scene was like captured. It's like, oh, you serious? Like,
Yeah,
oh,
or us. That
yeah,
that catch me too,
yeah,
but that
yeah,
moment in particular remind me oddly enough of the thing, like as in John Carpenter's the
right,
thing, right? Yeah, where
exactly.
it's all about these gross out moments involving some kind of let's say body horror stuff, right? Yeah, so
Yeah,
that was very Ting inspired, right? Speaking of that, I do like the slight little ET's throwback. So I mentioned the thing, right? There's actually a heavy metal reference, as in the old 1981 heavy metal, right? All I would just say is a song. Is a song that plays. I don't know how I pick up on it, but when I heard it, I was like, that shit is from heavy metal. So I was like, wow, boy, they actually do that. That real cool, right? But yeah, I'll also just lastly as we wrap things up though, I really love where the story is going so far, right? Where it's because at first I was wondering if the stuff was just gonna take place on the ship, or if it's gonna take place on Prodigy, or if it's gonna involve Wendy's real life brother, him working with the army and all that kind of stuff, right? So I love how they find the sweet spot where they merge all these arcs together, right? So now literally you have Hermit, that's the guy's nickname, right? That would be Wendy's brother, in the ship with these soldiers. But the ship happened to crash into a building where one of the trillionaire's buildings, right? That he owned. So you have other people involved, right? But then you have Wendy and her Lost Boys now going in now representing Prodigy to try to figure out what's going on there too, right? So I like how all those arcs come together, right? Now my one concern is that this is an 8 episode show, right? Season. So we have 6 more episodes to go, right? Now I don't know if the rest of the show is just gonna be built around that conceit, which is, down ship You have the cyborg character, which yes, it is deliberately looks like Yaphet Kotto. If it's gonna just everything is just gonna be centered around this one scenario. I don't know if they could pull it off. That would be kind of amazing. But I don't think that they could sustain that for a full for a full 8 episodes. I don't know.
Like,
So
I
yeah,
don't know where they're going with this. To be honest, I don't feel they'll just stick on the ship. It looking like it just move fast enough. So I feel where we end up will be vastly different to where we start. I don't think you'll spend too much time on this. To be honest,
yeah. And lastly, I generally was not keen on how the second episode ended. I felt like it just
I felt it yeah, a
it's
little wrong.
yeah no, it just ended weak in my opinion.
Yeah, stop
Yeah,
there. Yeah,
they really should have punched it up a little bit more, just given where
yeah.
the characters are at. The first episode, however, I thought that ended really strong, right? I've really felt so. That was like, oh, I want to see what happens next, right? But the second episode, they really could have come a little bit harder with that, right? But yeah, I am. Oh, I should just mention one last thing, right? As far as the stuff involving the army, right? I do like that the show isn't just leaning towards alien movies, but also alien games. Like there's moments that really echo the alien games. There was one,
Yeah.
oh gosh, what was there was
Isolation.
is it I there was it's either isolation, but there was one that I think is probably regarded as one probably the best alien game. It's a first person shooter. I forgot
Yeah,
the
well,
name.
I don't know. I don't know about first person shooters. It have Alien Isolation,
Um
which is a great game, and then it have Alien Colonial Marines, which is a terrible game.
no, well, it's not that one. It's not that one, but I think it is probably isolation or what that came
Yeah,
before that, right?
Isolation is excellent.
Yeah.
Isolation is one of the better games. Yeah.
Right. It's probably that. Okay, so I'll confess some last point and then we'll move on, right? Yeah, I never sat through any of those games because yeah, is which is something that you need for these games anyway, right? But it's I don't know, it's because they just use it so much, it's kind of make me jump too much the what I played. Yeah, this play on the dark claustrophobic vibe of it, right? It's
Kind
always
of.
in darkly lit corners, darkly lit
Yeah,
areas, and it always play with claustrophobia, right? So you don't know if the alien is above you or behind you or in front
yeah,
of
that's
you.
the whole point.
It always play
Yeah,
with that, right? And yeah,
yeah,
when you
great.
play that shit, when you play games with that going on, boy, it's like, nah, boy, I don't know, right? So I never finished an alien game because of that. But sorry, that's the nature of these games, right? So I love how this show even capitalizes on that, right? Where you have these soldiers, yeah, not knowing where to go and how they get picked off. But it's like, oh god, you know what I mean? Like you're just always on edge with these characters, right? But yeah, this show is off to a strong start. They have it's not perfect, mind you, right? It does have that fan service worship or whatnot, but listen, you could tell that the director, writer, and creator, yes, is a fan. He's a fan. He loved the show. He loved the franchise. He loved it, right? And even, Ridley Scott, we boy, he's the executive producer, which makes sense, right? But you could tell, like, they really want to take all these ideas that they had from over the past few decades and put them into this one show. But I think that they are on the right track to this, right? I love that they are taking the great stuff from Prometheus, but also the great stuff of the first two Alien movies, and of course the stuff that we kind of love in quotes from the Alien games, and just put it into this one show. And yeah, so far it's working, right? We're not gonna rate these first two episodes. It does make sense, but I think that this season is supposed to wrap up at the end of September. So when that wraps up, we'll give like a full review and then we'll give a full rating for this, right? But yeah, outside of the fan service and the not so strong end to the second episode, yeah, I am thoroughly enjoying this, man. I think that they're on the right track with this. The as far as the Alien franchise goes, yeah, this is a much needed series. Something that we could have gotten like ages ago, in my opinion, right? But here we are, we have it now, and I can't be mad at this. And again, boy, FX, boy, cooking with these shows, FX always cooking with these shows, right? But yeah, any last words on the start of Alien Earth?
So let's start. Again, you're right about like the second episode could have ended a little better. It was kind of on the clumsy end of things, but I digging it for what it is. I'm waiting for it. I was pretty excited for this project. Going into it, so I want to see where they're gonna go with it. But it's going good so far. Like just a solid premiere. introduction and a little on the slow end, I'll admit, but it's still, but it paces well enough given what it's trying to say. Again, it doesn't suffer from Surf Dracula, right? So I like it for what we're doing. Yeah, solid for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, and last point, I am not gonna. I don't honestly don't see myself watching this every single week, right? I will wait until it ends, and I'll just binge everything out maybe in a day or two, and then I can just give my final opinion on it, right? But I mean, yes, I mean the first two episodes came out, so that's why I took the time to check them out, and yeah, I really think that they really on a really strong note here with this show, and I really want to see where they go next with it.